Time now for our political roundtable, and joining us this morning, Democratic analyst Marianne Morris and Republican analyst Rob Gray. Great to see you guys. Good morning, good morning, good morning.
All right, let's start with Boston's race for mayor. An Emerson College poll has Mayor Wu with a 50-point lead. This comes after a political bombshell with only days to go before the preliminary election, a major shakeup in the Josh Kraft for Mayor campaign. His two top advisors, who have been leading his campaign since February, are out. Will Kaiser and Eileen O'Connor left days before voters go to the polls. They wish his campaign well, and the campaign itself is blaming it on strategic differences, but what they are, that's all still unclear. Marianne, what does all this tell you?
Nothing good, especially for Josh Kraft. So whether it's 30 points or 50 points, what this poll shows is that Josh Kraft is so far behind, he would have to pick up a point a day through the first Tuesday in November to even possibly close that gap. That's not going to happen. And the reason it's not going to happen is viewers of this show every week know why already. Rob and I have said this from the beginning. They introduced Josh Kraft not as the nice nonprofit guy who helped people across the city of Boston, but as a guy who was beating the bejesus out of Michelle Wu on every issue you can imagine, and it turns out most voters don't care about them. So that's the problem for Josh Kraft. But I do want to give Michelle Wu credit here, because I do think voters in Boston have recognized she's the one who's defending Boston against Trump, against Homan, against Tom Lyons, and against ICE coming here, National Guard troops and all of that. So it was not only her performance at the hearing, but her continued arguments against them that voters have now said, if we've got a chance at stopping Donald Trump from coming to Boston, Michelle Wu can do it. And if he does come, she will defend us every day.
What does this tell you?
When you have a massive personnel change like this late in the campaign, this close to election day, it's a 7.0 on the political Richter scale. So it's bad news for Josh Kraft. And the bottom line is this: Josh Kraft was relatively unknown, and during his time in the race, 6 months or so, spending millions and millions of dollars, his unfavorability rating has now risen to the high 50s, to 58%, right? That's no way to win a campaign, and that's why they made a change.
Mayor Wu successfully has been able to nationalize this race, so to speak. I mean, President Trump, every time we hear about President Trump coming down on Boston, she uses it seems, as an opportunity.
She defined the race, but she defined Josh Kraft too. Kraft's own campaign helped do that to the negative, and he ended up upside down. I mean, the more people got to know Josh Kraft, the less they liked him. So in many ways, that's what Markey did in his last race, define the race. Michelle Wu's defined the race. Josh Kraft didn't define the race, nor did he define himself.
Next item is Mass and Cass. The Boston City Council holds a hearing over Mass and Cass. The day before the hearing, Mayor Michelle will also announce that more police officers would be deployed to that area. Rob, let me start with you. Is this part of the plan, or is she trying to preemptively stop criticism in the weeks leading up to the election?
It's definitely time to the election. I mean, why did it take this long? Why didn't we do this 2 months ago, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, 12 months ago? There's a pretty simple, it's a complex problem, but there is a simple solution, which is more police, actually arrest people, actually get the district attorney to prosecute them and lock them up. So, I mean, Michelle Wu is flexing because the election is around the corner.
Is she, Marianne?
Yeah, I mean, they're all connected, right? But as we see in the polling and across the board, it's not as big an issue in the race now, given everything that's transpired. When they tried a year ago and got people off Mass and Cass, provided small housing, right, all of that worked. But what really worked best, there was not a Mass and Cass problem when there was a Long Island treatment center. So that's what's needed. And whether that bridge gets built and those facilities come back up, in the meantime, there needs to be a facility
but where's her
for people at Mass and Cass to go.
You know, she should be out making that solution happen. It's just whack-a-mole. Trust me, it'll be back after November.
All right. Well, Governor Maura Healey announced several steps to make sure vaccines are available in Massachusetts. It comes as Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. faced some tough questions in front of the Senate. Now, Marianne, do you think it should be up to states to set health policy? This is a road we're now seeing.
When it's a matter of life and death, yes. And given the Orwellian times we live in, and Robert Kennedy and Donald Trump clearly running an anti-health campaign against America, yes, so she did the right thing. There are people, first of all, 1,100 people in Massachusetts alone had COVID. this past week that we know of. And people are out there trying to get shots. They can't get them. Now they can get them. And oh, by the way, she told the insurance companies they've got to cover them. So good for her.
What do you think, Rob?
I think the governor's doing the right thing. I mean, let's look at Florida. They're trying to get rid of Governor DeSantis of the childhood vaccine mandates. This is putting millions of children and immunocompromised people in danger. Sometimes you have to pick up the slack for the federal government. And states doing it, would we let states regulate airline security, decide who could get on planes with what kind of weapons? No. There's a federal role in healthcare, and right now the federal role is not being exercised judiciously, for sure.
And by the way, this isn't going to be just about COVID. This is going to go to measles, polio. All the vaccines will be on the table.
Right. Next item, Harvard v. Trump. A judge rules in favor of Harvard University, saying that the Trump administration unlawfully cut billions in Harvard's research funding. The Trump administration is vowing to appeal. This is part of an ongoing feud between the two. The two sides are reportedly in talks to reach a rather large settlement. Rob, let me start with you on this. Is this all just part of a negotiation plan right now? Is that what we're doing, and we're moving the chess pieces around the board?
Part of it's a plan, but this push and pull, part of it is, is Harvard actually going to make a deal, or are they just playing for time to get past the midterm elections? Last time the midterm when Trump was president, Republicans lost 42 seats. So Harvard may just be saying, hey, let's get some court rulings, let's slow this down, and then see if our political juice increases after the midterms.
In basketball terms, put it in the four-corner offense. They used to have this four-corner offense install the game.
There's that, but Harvard's not going to surrender to Donald Trump. Why would they? They've won every single battle. And the judge called it out in this ruling. He said using anti-Semitism to go after Harvard, take it over, and take away billions of dollars is a ruse.
But I agree with you. They may not, but some major universities like Columbia, they have made deals with Trump.
Harvard's not going to do it. And I think all the time they're spending in these meetings that everyone's claiming a settlement, all those stories are coming from the White House. They're not coming from Harvard. And when they're doing that, to me, I think they're just getting more and more information that they can use in court to win the battles which they're doing.
All right, the future of the state's Cannabis Control Commission going back to court. A judge ruled Commission Chair Shannon O'Brien must be reinstated with back pay. In a strongly worded opinion, the judge ruled she was wrongly fired by State Treasurer Deb Goldberg. Goldberg will appeal the decision, arguing bringing back O'Brien will throw the commission into turmoil. Now, the Mass GOP called on Treasurer Goldberg to resign over this because they say she wasted $2 million of taxpayer money on this. Marianne, what do you think this means for both sides?
Well, Shannon O'Brien has said publicly that she plans on returning to her job, and that would give her the opportunity to restore her professional reputation in the same way the court decision helped her with her good name. And for Deb Goldberg, she now in appealing this, which by the way, the judge said in the ruling she should not do, but she's going ahead to do that. That means that the cannabis case will be covered by the media, not Shannon O'Brien being back in her job and how she's doing. If Deb Goldberg's going to run for re-election, that's why she's doing that. So it takes the attention off Shannon O'Brien, puts it back on the argument she was making in court, win or lose.
What do you think, Rob?
I think it's an insider power struggle between two powerful elected Democrats. And it's been 2 years of wasted time while the actual commission fails to do its job. We've had stories about mold and health concerns in the legal marijuana industry, eroding public safety in communities. All of that happens while they fight over power, basically.
Roundtable continues. Stay with us.